Hi, and welcome to the Wrap, a quick look at the week that was. I'm Diana Dorahy. It was great to have Gail Wong from Her Capital in Singapore join us this week for both a live member Q&A call as well as our podcast. She's all about supporting female founders who are innovating towards what she's dubbed an inclusive world that works for all. We can all get behind that. She's had a lot to say about her mission to invest in profit-seeking businesses that are designed with the planet and people in mind, and I really encourage you to take a listen. Speaking of social impact investing, the Stacey's Rise class of 2020 was also announced this week as well, and out of the 15 winners, there are actually quite a number of social impact businesses in there. Proof, perhaps, that purpose, sustainability, and doing good is now becoming an integral part of an investor's strategy. In funny news this week, Singapore startup Insider has announced it's just raised $32 million in a Series C round, taking its total funding raised to $42 million. The company develops software to help clients make marketing decisions, and it now plans with that money to launch in the United States. Now, I could do a whole wrap on what these guys are doing and the way they're doing it, but for now, let me just boast about the fact that this female-founded company has an executive team made up of 50% women. Talk about leading by example. My story of the week this week, Alibaba Group and Ant Group have announced a new initiative to uplift women in technology and entrepreneurship. Now, it's dubbed Cyber Mulan, and it's a 5-year plan that aims to help 50 million women reach their goals through things like digital skills training programs, interest-free loans, which are specifically aimed at female entrepreneurs in small and medium-sized enterprises. Great initiative. I also really liked a story out of Brussels this week. It was about the rise of female entrepreneurship there. And a recent survey has found that 1 in 10 women in Belgium is actually self-employed, and that's the highest rate in the country. In fact, the number of self-employed women has increased 30% in the past 10 years. And one of the reasons for this surge is the rise in business cooperatives. Now, these spaces offer women a chance, and men too, but female founders a chance to develop and test their ideas in a supportive community without the entrepreneur taking on any financial risk. It's clearly an investment that pays dividends, and hopefully, if funds allow, at a government level, to be able to roll that out in other European nations to also see that commensurate rise in female entrepreneurship. My tip of the week this week comes from Gail Wong. Yes, Gail gets a second mention on the wrap this week. In fact, we could fill an entire wrap with Gail's tips, but for now, let's talk about 3. She's actually invested in 7 startups in the past 8 years, and when she was asked on the podcast about the biggest factor in her investees' success, she cites these 3: coachability and growth mindset, to be continually able to confront what's not working in the business and within yourself as you bring the future you envision into reality. Second, a commitment to something far bigger than yourself or money. And it really, in those that she's invested in, she's found that commitment really underpins their determination to come up with creative solutions, and it's also really important for staying, joyful and resilient in a really fast-moving, high-stakes business environment. The third thing she says is be action-oriented. Keep trying, but don't overthink. Something to give all of us food for thought. Coming up next week on Next Chapter Raise, we've got our members Roundup coming out. And special guest on the podcast is Josh Bollott. He joins us from Sydney. He's a principal at Monash Private Capital, and he also sits on a number of advisory boards and is a non-executive director of early stage and growth stage companies, including Bellabox, Range Me, and Future Rent. Can't wait to get his insights and tips. Until then, have a great weekend and see you next time on The Wrap.